My name is Davar, and I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and health coach. And I'm so grateful to the Faena Hotel who helped me to organize this ultimate wellness series of events at their spa. So every week we gathered here to talk about all things related to mindful eating and emotions behind overeating. And then we talked about natural immunity, ways to support our metabolism and to prevent early signs of aging. And today, in our last event, we concluded everything with daily detox rituals. And I'm so happy to inspire and educate the Miami community and to help everyone to live their happiest and the healthiest lives. I'm on the mission to make Miami the healthiest city in the country, and I'm here for all of you. Is there anyone here who's never tried to detox?
Tried? Or
Yeah, never tried. Okay. Well, today, like Pamela was so excited to learn. I told her I'm gonna overwhelm you guys with the information, and then comfort you into this thought that it's a process. It's never a situation. So I gotta figure it out. Thank you. Yeah. Where it's like I totally did it right, 100%, right? It's always a balance of things, right? So life goes on, things happen, and we're trying our best here. So me being, wait, how does this work? Being like a food expert that I call myself, I'm gonna go into my credentials. The idea of today's talk is to nudge you in the direction of healthier choices, right? This book, if anyone ever heard of this book called Nudge, Richard Thaler, he won a Nobel Prize for this idea, how he introduced this innovative idea of nudging. So what he studied was, he studied economics, but he introduced this term into psychology of people. What happens to us when we make bad decisions, right? Why? Why do we do what we do when we know what we know, right? And what he realized is that small habits, like a lot of people get overwhelmed with the information or like the action steps, and it seems almost like impossible to have it all, to keep it all together or succeed, right? And then they end up, quitting altogether. So the nudging emphasizes the importance. I know. Yeah. Chris, anyone, someone just, hello, hello. All right, okay, here. So we're just, come on. Okay, well, hopefully we can. Okay, it's on, right? Okay, keep me, because I don't want to go back and forth. So the nudging introduces this idea, how do we find an innovative way to look at the things that we already know and like a new way, or like create a new habits, right? Or a new way of doing. So this is the purpose of today's lecture, that you'll walk out of here feeling that you have a new way of thinking about the same things that you've already heard of many times and you've already like known from before, right? But now you can like create some change in your life and do some things differently or otherwise. All right, okay, let's figure this out once and for all. Maybe I should connect my computer to the electricity, so this way it's not gonna go in and out. What's in retrograde right now? Right? It's supposed to be about technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
I try not to read those anymore, because like I get like too like focused on those things. Like, okay, no, things are gonna go right. I don't want to know, but here we are. Oh. Okay. No, just leave it for now. I think it might be my computer. It's just doesn't like that cable. It's just the yeah. If you could just plug me in. Yeah. Will it be able to? All right, we're moving on. So let me guys tell you a little bit about myself. I know most of you, but not all of you. Hi, I'm Ella. Samina, nice to meet you. Welcome. My name is Ella, and I'm a registered dietitian and a health coach and a yoga instructor and meditation practitioner and a lot of things. Altogether, I call myself a food expert because I love food. I love talking about it. I love eating it, cooking it, and helping other people to solve their problems related to food choices, to weight, and body image. So
Sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
I thought this was going to be the shamanic.
No, that event got canceled.
Oh, bummer.
You can talk to them.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me staying.
No, I don't want you. But Tessa can fill you in. I believe that event got canceled, right?
I'm sorry?
The shamanic something?
Constellations got canceled? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't get a notification.
Okay, the last step is to set it all back up the way it was. And then we'll be all set, hopefully. All right, anyway, so before I became a dietitian, I led a stressful lifestyle. I was on Wall Street for a while. I moved to America like when I was 19 years old from a small town in Russia. And my lifestyle there was very much what, if you guys ever heard of like centenarians, people who live in harmony with nature, right? Like my grandparents owned a small farm and where they like grew their own food, but I thought that lifestyle is just not for progressive people. I needed to be part of the big city. I had like big dreams, so I moved to New York. And where do you go, like a young immigrant in the big city? You go to Wall Street, right? That's how I ended up getting my bachelor's in finance, and I ended up on Wall Street. There's some pictures of me supposed to be up there. So, but then that's how I learned, like firsthand experience, what stress could do to you. And if you were to look at me back then, I was like working out at 5 a.m. every morning before reading the Wall Street Journal, and then tried every diet. I was like trying to excel at everything, right? I was vegan, juicing, fasting. I tried it all like back in those years. Yeah, that's me. And then yoga saved my life. Yoga brought some sanity into my life, and that's how I was able to quit. And it led to burnout eventually, but I became a yoga instructor since then and a health coach. And then, as being a type A New Yorker, I needed to get professional in it. And I went to get a master's degree in nutrition from NYU and become a clinical nutritionist and medical professional. And while I was in school, that's when I really learned what toxicity is. And it's not only mental and physical. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Dr. Alexander Younger. He's a doctor of Gwyneth Paltrow. And I think I have his book coming up. Yeah, I really, like if you know his story, right? What he went through to become that type of holistic doctor who studied yoga and Reiki and all those things. So I kind of come the full circle like he did. Like when I was in working in hospitals, walking into the like clinical settings and like with the clients, with the patients like laying there, being so sick, I was like, I don't know if I'm like much healthier than you guys because I've been like struggling to keep my own health. I don't know if you know much about medical school, what they do to students, like all day, every day you work at a hospital and then you like work on assignments in the evenings. And you're lucky if you have any break and like eat whatever the hospital food is. And I was like, after I was already a yoga and health coach, I found myself in that situation, like the sickest I've ever been. So I've been like up and down ever. So everything I'm gonna tell you today is everything I've studied and I've practiced myself. And we're gonna cover a lot of toxins today. There's gonna be a lot of information, but hopefully you'll understand how it's always about trying your best, just doing your best. Because like life throws us into like different circumstances, different situations, and we need to just, know all this information and do and try our best. So this is me actually working on the research project in Harlem at Mount Sinai Hospital. I worked on the research project. We educated low-income population communities in Harlem on benefits of healthy eating to prevent cardiovascular disease. And this is me like serving the green juice to people in Harlem who never have thought that they would enjoy this. They looked at it as like, there's no way my kids are gonna like it, and they actually enjoyed it. So small steps, right? Like small sips like changed people's lives. I still remember that mother looking at her kid like, I'll go buy these ingredients right now. I never thought you would like this, So things like that. So hopefully you'll try some new things from today. So this is our talk, our agenda for today. We'll talk about what is detox and what a type of toxins and what are the type of detox there is, right? So any ideas? I'm always open to conversational style of lectures, like any ideas. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about detox, other than green juices? Anything else?
Yeah, just stop drinking and caffeine.
Okay, caffeine.
Yeah,
Pamela likes to
caffeine.
hear that.
That's my first detox. Really.
Okay.
Lymphatic drainage.
Okay. You see, those are like completely different systems. That's like digestion, and that's lymphatic system. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So there's two types of toxins. This boring definition you can read on your own. But I wanted to introduce two types of toxins, right? So you guys know there's the endo and exo. And these two terms that I want you to know. Number one is endo. It's from the inside, right? It's the waste product of the metabolism, natural metabolism on a daily basis. And that's what our body produces on its own and removes it with urination and breath. And those are the waste products. Have you guys ever heard of those? Uric acid, ammonia, lactic acids, and homocysteine. Like those are the ones that are clinically studied, and like even like regular, like traditionally trained doctors talk about those, right? The homocysteine is something that's that they actually test for. Everything else, not really. And what they call those the exotoxins, right? The ones that we get from the exposure, from the environment, from the pollution. And I'm going to cover today the indoors pollution. So not just what happens to us outside, what happens to us indoors, right? So those things that most doctors think like there's not enough literature on those, right? Not a lot of people think. And then, but that's when they look at people with green juices, they're like, those are just like, even I used to call this like health enthusiasts, they're just like doing things to the extreme, right? But you learn a lot about those today because after I did I got my medical license as a dietitian, I studied functional medicine, functional nutrition, and that's where they teach you that. I still see some dietitians right now. I was like, when I was doing research on this lecture, when you Google Gwyneth Paltrow on YouTube, the video comes up like 2 dietitians that tried her detox, and they completely bashing her that this is all crap, none of it is like true, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, because they don't know. All they know is what they know, right? And I used to be one of those people who's like, there's not enough information in the literature. But I'm actually gonna show you the opposite today. So yeah, I know that not only the pollution, not only in the air, but also in the food and everything that's in our cosmetics. We're gonna talk about deodorants, detergents, and everything today. All right, so here how we get exposure to toxins and those that come into our bloodstream and into our poor liver that works tirelessly to help us, right? There's 3 major ways. One is the ingestion, right? When we eat, swallow like food or supplements. And then there's the dermal, right? Everything that we apply on our biggest organ. I just gave it away. Usually I was like, do you guys know what's the biggest organ that we have? It's skin, actually. It's the thing that covers our entire body. And then inhalation, right? Everything we breathe in, like I just mentioned, pollution, the indoors pollution and outdoors. And usually our body is able to detoxify and to transform those toxins and get rid of them. But what happens is with all this overwhelming exposure that we have, and if we're not supporting the detoxification process naturally, what happens, they get stored, accumulated, and this is where they get stored, right? First in our liver, and then in our tissues, and our organs, and our joints, right? And that's how a lot of people don't associate their like muscle weakness or like joints inflammation with toxicity. Okay, they're gonna keep learning. And this process is called biotransformation. You guys gonna learn some biochemistry today too. The biotransformation is your ability of your body, especially liver, to transform all those toxins that are coming at us at all times into less toxic metabolites and remove them out of our body, right? And this ability of our body to transform is like the root of the physical and mental health. So here are some signs that you need a detox. Here's the book. Have you guys ever seen this book? Yeah, I read that book like 8 years ago when I was still on Wall
But it's
Street.
all about eliminating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the guy actually did it. That's another thing what I was going to ask you. When you guys think about detox, we're going to talk about protein a lot today. But when we think about detox, right, we think about juicing, fasting, green juices, no protein, right? Protein is bad. And you'll see how this guy, who's, he's the guy who's like the real doctor, but he's the one who studied yoga and energy healing. In his book, there's a lot of protein, right? In addition to green juices. So if you've tried to detox and you've,
But
started
it's
eating...
clean protein, right? It's like chicken and fish.
Yeah.
It tries to like clean your diet.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not like veganism,
No,
Yeah.
it's not vegan.
Yeah, but a lot of people like look at me, it's like, you're a dietitian, you eat chicken? Wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, like there's so much more than just that, right? In his book, there's a lot of protein there. And he's the one who advises like people who, earn money on the way they look, right? And they, invest a lot of energy into that. So, and then when we go to like Eastern, like people who specialize in Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine, I don't know if you've ever been to those healers, they look at your body's ability to detoxify itself before they look at anything, right? So they look at your eyes, they look at your tongue, and they look at your nails, and then they look at your body's ability to detoxify. I don't still remember how, like, which one have you tried? Have you tried Chinese or Ayurvedic?
For what?
For like healing, for detoxifying.
I've been to both.
Both?
I mean, like for Chinese acupuncture.
Yeah.
And then also Ayurvedic medicine.
And they talked about these things, right? Your body's
they
ability.
always, in Ayurvedic, they
Yeah.
always check the tongue.
And the eyes, right? So all of these things is like a result of accumulation of toxins, and even like mood swings and skin problems and food cravings. And in his book, he covers it. How many people have read it? No?
I
Yeah.
have it. I don't know if I've read it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, he talks about like basically like liquid meal a day. Either it's a green smoothie or green juice, and then up to 2 liquid meals a day, and then 1 meal, usually dinner or lunch, which is like an actual like protein and vegetable, right? But again, like here, I'm gonna show this later, but like this is how the food intake is supposed to look like. Half of it is vegetable. These are all vegetables. These are all the green vegetables, and these are like starchy vegetables. And that's what basically his food intake. See, this is the portion for protein, which is like less than 20%. This is the portion for healthy fats, and the portion for berries and fruits, the ones that are high in sugar. And if you guys been to my lecture last week when we talked about metabolism, we talked about natural sugar, which is still a lot of things. So if you guys recognize yourself with any of these symptoms, like I'm gonna walk you through right now a body scan meditation for us to take a moment to pay attention to our body. And with that, I'm gonna introduce breathing. That's number 1 detox through lungs and through breath. Right, I'm gonna invite you to uncross your legs, sit comfortably, and close your eyes and focus on your nose, right? We're gonna do this quick body scan meditation where I want you to pay attention to the parts of your body that needs more love and more tender loving care these days, but you've been too busy to pay attention to it. Okay, take a deep breath in through your nose and slow exhale. Another deep breath in, expand your chest, and slow exhale, slower than the one before. Very good. Another deep breath in, expand your chest, expand your belly, and deliberately slow exhale. Notice how your heart rate slows down. Notice how you become more mindful. And I want you to put your attention into your heart. You may wish to put your hands on your heart and send some gratitude towards your heart that never makes mistake, but always there for you, never skips a beat. And then slowly shift your attention to your third eye, into your crown chakra in your head. Breathe deeply into your brain that helps you to recover and detoxify on a daily basis. And then shift your attention to your jaws. You may wish to massage your jaw muscles a little bit. That's where we store a lot of tension, a lot of emotions. And then slowly shift your attention to your lungs. Take a deep breath in, fill in your lungs with the gratitude, and exhale. Notice how your body feels when you're taking a moment to appreciate it. And then shift your attention to the right side, the lower right side of your rib cage. That's where your liver is. We're going to talk a lot about your liver today. So send some gratitude to your liver. Move your attention lower to your digestive tract, to the small and large intestine. Breathing gratitude in there. Slowly shift your attention to your hips. And then into your knee joints and your ankles. And slowly, whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Notice where your body needs more attention. And we'll continue talking about your lungs and the toxins that we breathe in. So we all know about pollution, right? We live in, especially people who live in urban cities. You know, it's everywhere. But not a lot of people realize about indoor pollutions. Everything that's on those slides, the air fresheners are the most toxic carcinogens there is. So I'm sure you guys have seen the essential oil diffusers, right? That's the better alternatives to that. And also practicing breath work, strengthening your lungs capacity to detoxify on its own. And if you do this exercise that we did right now outside, especially we're lucky in Florida because we have the ocean, right? And that's the number one recommendations that I have for people to optimize their lung capacity. There's a lot of different exercises that you could do. I listed all of them here. There's breath work exercise, right? Long deep breathing is what we did today. That's what helps our body to switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system to relax and bring more mindfulness into our body. And then there's holotropic breathing and holding our breath, the Wim Hof breath. Sure you guys have heard of all this. There's a ton of benefits in it, not only like on the nervous system, but also in our lung capacity. Especially if you do that in the altitude, not only helps you to get rid of the altitude sickness, but also strengthens your lungs. And we all know about like the importance of our lungs these days, not just to detoxify, not with just everything that's going on, you know, in our day-to-day urban city lives, but with everything else, all types of viral infections that are affecting our lungs. So very important. So again, when you're feeling like you're not doing good enough on your detox plan, just breathe and you'll do something good for yourself and for your body. Okay, never forget that. And then we're transitioning to food. There's some food additives that you guys, I'm sure, heard of before, like nitrates and nitrates. Those are generally recognized as safe by the FDA, so that's why we see them in our food everywhere, right? And that's why, thank God to Whole Foods, we have organic options for meats, right? But most, research that's indicating that red meat is bad for us, it's exactly because of these things. But they don't tell you that. They tell you because it's a saturated fat, because it's too much protein, right? But the accumulation of those things, because they're mostly found in conventional deli meats, right? That's what like most people eat who don't shop at Whole Foods, right? And when they think about like sandwiches, that's all deli meats, hot dogs, burgers, bacons, turkey, and all those things, the worst. And these additives still, like, even though they're safe for adults, they're a huge concern for children because of their, the higher dietary intake for their body weight. So, and even for adults, what I'm going to talk about, about toxins the whole time. Hi, sweetie. The toxins and the whole time, there's cumulative and synergistic toxicity from all of those things, right? Because there's so much happening at the same time. There's a lot of things that we don't have control over. So that's why if I'm gonna like push you in the direction of taking more control, it's because you can, if you put some mindfulness into it, right? So there's not enough research to conduct like what happens like when we're chronically exposed to those things, right? There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that everywhere, and how it all accumulates in our body. So that's why as a functional nutrition practitioner, you know, like I educate people on the quality of food. It's not just enough to talk about, you know, what foods to eat, but also like the organic. And we're going to talk about organic living today a lot. So there's a lot of chemicals that are listed there, and most of these chemicals, they affect our endocrine and thyroid function because they have this like they're mimicking our hormones, right? And even holistic gynecologists right now who are dealing with PCOS, that's what they all come down to. It comes down to like organic living, that all those hormones, especially like I'm gonna get into like cosmetics. So the food additives, right? Eating whole foods. That's not the, you know, there's a lot of association with the supermarket, but that's what people mean. Whole foods is like what you see is what you get, right? So there's only like 1 or 2 ingredients in your products, right? But then there's like, if there's a whole list of products, that's what you get most of the time. All of these chemicals listed there and here, this is actually from my book on functional nutrition. There's a lot of heavy words there that I just, but most of the additives come from like plastic and from handling food. There's a lot of things like, even like if we think of chips, right? And you're like, oh, there's not they're organic, right? Or like there's not a lot of chemicals in those chips. But like what happens when they get absorbed from like, absorb those chemicals from the plastic, like the, that they're covered in. It's another thing. The packaging plays a huge role.
What about your body? Does it know how to digest processed food, like as well as whole foods?
I mean, your body is like a miraculous machine. It's like it can like, given the chance, it could do so many things that are wrong, but it's gonna like balance it out. But it could, like your body is able to metabolize and digest most things, but it takes its toll. Like last session when we had on metabolism, we talked about aging, right? Like why do we age, and why a lot of people think like, oh, you get older, that's why, you know, that's why you get sick. Not true. You get older because of cumulative effect of everything you do every day and how it wears out your cells, your cellular metabolism, your cells' ability to metabolize those things, right? And how you know, your hormones are affected by that. Okay, so these are just some of the tips that I have here, right? Avoid all the sugars and salty snacks, and choose mostly organic vegetables and fruits, and protect yourself from those food additives, right? Easy to say, and like, I'm sure you guys heard of this, like quick tip on like, if you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. And it is true. When you look at the longevity research, when people eat most of their food from their own garden, there's nothing that didn't grow. Forget like spraying it with stuff. We're gonna talk a lot about those chemicals. So here's one of the toxins that you guys all know about, right? Mercury. So has anyone here like ever dealt with like mercury poisoning? Good. Good. But some of the signs of it are like muscle weakness and vision, like problems with vision. And it's not very, you know, it's not very often that we see it, but we still do. And most toxicity comes actually from not only from seafood, but also from like water. That's why water quality is so important, and water filtration. But of course, most things that we know about is like seafood, right? And just to, you know, rule of thumb, like eat smaller fish, right? Because what happens, it absorbs the toxins from the air into the water, and that's what, like, when the fish lives the longest life, it ends up eating a smaller fish that accumulated more toxins and more mercury in it. So the biggest one are actually halibut and tuna. And if you guys know about seafood, you know how much I like recommending it for many benefits, right? And there's this huge potentially benefiting antioxidant, astaxanthin, which still, like, you know, I love recommending seafood for many reasons, including omega-3 and that antioxidant. That's why I included there right next to mercury to balance it out, right? When we choose the right seafood, we choose to nourish ourselves. And the smaller it is, the better. So the longevity research on Japan and that island indicates that they eat small fish, not the huge. I mean, the tuna is always there in small amounts, but like when they are relying on their own seafood that they're able to catch are usually small fishes. That's why I included that. And this antioxidant comes from the red color. You see how bright this red color is? That's where you get this antioxidant. A lot of people who are into biohacking, like drink that antioxidant in capsules right now. But it's my job to educate you. And like that red caviar, actually, the salmon raw, right, is the one that's like has the highest antioxidant content in it. Yes. Yes, and the salmon. And if you noticed, have you guys ever seen the difference between wild salmon and like farm raised? It's the color, right?
Comment about that. I told Whole Foods, I said, if it's farm raised,
Yeah.
how come it's pink? How come it's still pink? Because they're they're not eating shrimp farm raised. And he says, don't worry, it's carotene, it's organic.
Yeah. You see? Yeah, I'm sure.
So that was a shocker, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I know, and then there's a lot of people who are like afraid of seafood, if they like have their mercury checked. And to be honest with you, when I checked my own mercury when I worked at the clinic, like most people have it high right now, right? So that's why detoxification is very important, because it also comes from rice, because it comes from like some of the grains, because it comes from the water. Usually it comes from the industrial pollution, and then it gets absorbed by the water and by the grains and fish.
So is farm fish less prone to mercury than, or because it's raised in a certain area, or cleaner water?
You could say that. Like I see your logic behind it, right? But then, it's actually wild caught. That's just the best. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that's in the open waters.
It
way.
Feeder,
Yeah.
it's still healthier?
Yes, it's still healthier, and I mean, depends how you look at it. If you look at it from like kosher perspective, right? There's like, but like,
I love shrimp, but a lot of people will be like, oh, they're.
and it's higher in this.
But, so I don't.
It's high. I mean, that's like ideology versus like science, So you can't argue with that. They're still right? But then you have to make a decision for yourself. And actually, shrimp is also like everything that's like bright red, like lobster, shrimp, and salmon and caviar, is high in this like antioxidant that a lot of. And I mean, the event was announced that it's going to be about like glowing skin. This is the antioxidant for glowing skin, and in capsules right now. I'm gonna talk about supplements later today, and it's part of those supplements.
Fish oil has always been great for hair.
Yes, omega-3, but especially that this antioxidant, like in biohacking and longevity right now, everyone's raving about it. Okay, here's where to find out if people are concerned with mercury. There's a whole list, and it's available on cleanfish.com.
Can you put the
Yeah.
word up again? Let me take a photo.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk about supplements at the end, and I'll have actually like brand that I recommend if you were to get it. Yeah. So if anyone's concerned with mercury, here's the list, and you can get it from cleanfish.com, and they post yearly updates on the resources, on what's best and what, like, especially because it all depends, right? Depends on the water quality and whatnot. So the most things that I ask my clients to avoid are the big tuna, like big eye and ahi tuna, and the king mackerel. And if you do have those, you have to be careful, right? You have to take responsibility for it and not to have it. Even like when I post tuna on my social media, it blows up, like all the tuna, and I have to justify myself. Like, I only eat it like once a month. Yeah. So that's actually from the website. So I encourage you to check it out and educate yourself on the sources of mercury, right? There's still a huge list of all the fish in the green zone that you can have. And this one is actually called a wallet card that you can get in Natural Resources Defense Console. That's where I got it from. Okay. All right, here's the omega-3 fatty acids. Hugely beneficial, because like I see a lot of people who are like, that's it, mercury, no more seafood for me. It's just going to be chicken from now on, right? And that's why I included the slide. There's a ton of health benefits of omega-3, and also vegans, right? I have to deal with those too. So the walnuts, right? Flax seeds and chia seeds, like, and especially hemp seeds. There's a ton of antioxidants, because omega-3 and vitamin E is a fat-soluble vitamin, one of the potent antioxidants, and we're going to have a huge discussion today about antioxidants, because those are our soldiers that help our body to detoxify from all the toxins that we inhale and ingest. So here's some heavy slide for you guys on heavy metals, right? No one wants to know about those, but mercury is part of them, and those are the ones that make our life harder, and specifically for our heart. Our heart has to like work much harder when it has to deal with all of these things, and those are all potential carcinogens as well. So that's what cardiologists don't tell you when they tell you like don't eat meat, but those are actually the real problems, like the buildup of those, right, in your liver, in your joints, and in your heart. That's what leads to cardiovascular disease. Lead, you guys have all heard of. That's the old paint, right? That's hopefully like not used much anymore. The old batteries, and then there is like the arsenic. Arsenic also comes from a lot of rice. That's what most people, even like gluten-free people, avoid rice right now. And that's where the whole controversy comes from. I don't know if you guys have heard that like white rice now is better than brown rice because it's polished off the arsenic, but then you have to be careful where it comes from, right? So if it comes from China, yes. But if it comes from, California or South America, then you can have the brown rice. So have you guys ever heard of that?
No? That's
Yeah.
the first time,
It's like one of the top things on the bulletproof diet.
Mhm.
Actually, Dave Asprey is the founder of the bulletproof
Yeah.
diet. Sort of, put this on the map, so to speak, like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually,
Were you gonna say something? No? No? Yeah.
Where are we supposed to get brown rice from? California or?
Yes,
South-
as long as it's not China, because that's where I'm gonna talk about some studies on pollution in China and what they do to balance out their toxins, but like the pollution there is so high, that's how all the grains and fish absorb all these heavy metals, including arsenic and mercury.
Then if it comes from California, only if it's like organic and no pesticides used.
Yes, non-GMO. Yeah, and that's the thing about, we still trust American standards more than Chinese, right? And that's when quality becomes like essential. South America is still like one of the cleanest ones, but like as long as it's organic, that's what means that it's not used with pesticides that I'll be talking about. And these things like we rarely know about, right? Because that's like you have to test the soil and what surrounds the farm, right? How the grains are absorbing that, because that's usually absorbed through the industrial pollutions. And this thing, that's intentional. So this is everything that's not organic, and that's what gets absorbed into your fruits and vegetables and grains by intention. And all of this, like the Roundup, all of these things that are designed to keep your vegetables perfect, picture perfect, right? The ones that you bring them home and they stay in your refrigerator for 2 weeks and nothing happens to them, right? They're still in perfect shape because of these guys. And we don't want those guys. We want our fruit to go bad within a week because it's not sprayed by all these chemicals. And those are all, from the functional nutrition perspective, are probable carcinogens, and they're all, intentionally there. And again, it's still used, right? And it's, it's everywhere. In every supermarket that's not Whole Foods, and even in Whole Foods, there's a lot of non-organic stuff, right? And it's generally seen as safe to use, but there's again not enough research to show what's the chronic exposure to it will live like day after day. What happens when we are leading this lifestyle full of chemicals, from cosmetics, from air, from food, right? Again, if we have control over it, we'd rather not have these two. Glyphosate, have you guys ever heard of glyphosate? That's the most famous one, right? It comes from like non-organic vegetables, and what it does, it acts like endocrine hormones disruptor. And that's what, again, like most people in America has this mentality like we get sick because we get old. No, because of the accumulation of all these things, right? And here is a quick solution for you guys. Before you get overwhelmed, like now I have to go like all organic, right? The solution here is that you don't have to eat 100% organic.
I was about to ask about the
Yeah.
avocado and banana, because I heard if it has skin.
The skin, yes.
Yeah.
So the Environmental Working Group posts these annually on their website, the things to watch out for. And this list, the Dirty Dozen, is that something that you should be getting organic at all times possible, right? And most of those things happen to be berries and green vegetables, right? Because if you grow your own berries and vegetables, you'll notice they grow very fast right away, right? And they absorb everything as quickly as possible. Whereas the ones that grow older, right, or longer, they absorb more junk in them, and they also grow thick skin, right? And but the Clean 15 says like that you could just, you know, get away with not buying them organic. And Clean 15 meaning like you don't have to, you know, like spend a ton of money on organic food, right? You could still get certain things that are not organic, and I recommend you like to look it up. I think there's soon there should be coming up with the 2022, and I'm curious myself what's going to change, but that's the main idea. Everything that has a thick skin on it, like pineapple or cantaloupe or bananas, right, those are okay too, because the skin usually absorbs most of the toxins and the vegetable does not. But last time we talked about fiber and how certain things we should be eating with skin. So yeah, as whenever possible, just buy organic, or even better, there's certain foods that I call better than organic, and those are farm raised, right, from your farmers, right? When you look at the person who like grew that vegetable, and you look at their hands and their eyes, right, and that's like there's like no middleman in between you two, that's ideal, right? I still remember myself when I got into this. I went to the Hamptons, and there's like this berry stand, and I looked at the guy and I was like, is it organic? Because I was like so obsessed with it. And the guy looked at me, he's like, I just picked this morning and they'll be gone in like half an hour. I don't need to care like about organic label. You know how much money it costs to get the organic label at my farm? Like, who's got time for that, right? And that's when I was like, since then I was like, that's like better than organic. Because organic is still, it's a huge industry to get the label on the farm. All right, here's the fun slide for all of you guys. All the chemicals that we absorb through skin, okay? And there's a lot. All of those have some like heavy duty chemicals, right? I'm not gonna try to pronounce all of them, but I'm sure you're familiar with some, right? The parabens, the aluminum from the deodorants, the Vaseline, the mineral oils. There's a lot of them. These are like toluene, the one that's like causes some nervous damage, like and depression. A lot of women don't even like think that far, right? They just take antidepressants instead of, you know, looking at the root cause. But I have a lot of colleagues working in the industry, and their main approach is this, you know, with women with PCOS and urinary tract infections, like a lot of different things, like, because most of these things like weaken your immune system and weaken your body's ability to detoxify properly. So organic skincare, you guys, here we go. Yes, I mean, we all try our best, but these are some of the brands that I love, that I gathered. Anything looks familiar, you guys?
It's hard to read it.
Yes.
It's hard to read it.
Yeah.
It's hard to read, but
Dr. Hauschka. Yeah.
Dr. Bronner. Yeah. It's their soaps and that cosmetics that are only used with like essential oils. So another like huge thing about those cosmetics, not just the chemicals, but fragrances and perfumes. It's the same as like using air freshener on you, but like more concentrated and like with better smell. So next time you put fragrance, like that's what you should. Yep, essential oils. Yeah, I'm gonna have a slide on essential oils today. Yes, and then another tip on helping your body to detoxify is through skin is sweating. The ancient tradition of sweating, whether it's saunas or steam room, is again prescribed by functional medicine doctors these days. So who's here has a habit of sweating regularly? Good job, look at you. Russians do this, right? So when I was getting ready for this lecture on Sunday, I was like, okay, go, I have a sauna in my building, I never go. So I told myself, you need to go, like put the slides on pause and go get a sauna. Yes, amazing. At least once a week, finding a way to sweat. And that's what most, like I said, functional medicine practitioners prescribe to their clients to improve your body's ability to detoxify. Break a sweat. If you're breaking sweat, you're doing something good for your skin. So it's like exercising your lungs, right? That's its function, and that's what you do to your skin. Every time your skin sweats, you're exercising its ability to detoxify.
If you don't sweat easily, is that a sign of something?
No, it's most likely genetical, but like as long as you get yourself to that state where you see a little bit of sweat, for you it's probably like all you need. For other people it's more. All right, organic skincare, and then there's clothing, you guys. Organic clothing. Right? Well, it's my job to tell you all about it. Right? All the synthetic fabrics that like just dampers our ability of our skin to just be able to detoxify on its own. All the synthetic polyester fabrics, just actually, it's not breathable, right? And that's what makes our skin, like clogs our skin, like pores that we don't think about much throughout our body, right? Other than our face, but that's what happens. And some of the best natural fabrics are wool, cashmere, silk, and bamboos and cotton. So even when you put on like a natural fabrics, clothing, you're doing something good for your body's ability to detoxify. Just remember that. Or linen and cotton. Yeah. Okay. And then we talked about the air pollution and environmental toxins, and I just wanted to bring in the Tai Chi and yoga. Again, all of that is your ability. You know how in yoga they keep talking about breath? So now you're going to breathe extra hard without them to remind you, just to remember that's your ability to detoxify yourself, right? Because your body, given half the chance, it will take it. And you know how like some people deal with infections better than others because of that, right? Some people have like more cough or less. I mean, it's genetical. We all, have, our variants, right? But at least when we're mindfully exercising ourselves, especially our lungs, we're doing something good for our bodies to detoxify. All right, and then there's liver, the most hard-working detoxifying organ of our body. And the way to support it, our liver to detoxify naturally, is to employ antioxidants. Like antioxidants are your best friends, yeah.
Question regarding the other side.
Yeah?
Just going back, you make a reference to glutathione
Yes.
and antioxidants.
Yes. So it's the most powerful antioxidants for a liver detox, yeah.
But what is the correlation with breath? Because you have it in your breath.
Oh, no, it's just that it's good for lungs detoxification. I'm going to talk about glutathione. I have like a whole page on it, but that was just the summary on lungs detoxification. But it also detoxifies liver, and so antioxidants, right? Even zinc and selenium, even those are like minerals. Those are still antioxidants. And here's a whole list of foods that we can eat to help our liver to detoxify in our lungs. So cilantro, my favorite herb to talk about. When I do my healthy cooking classes, I always use cilantro and always talk about it. Ayurvedic practitioners say that people who live in urban cities must eat like a whole bunch of cilantro per day to get rid of all those heavy metals. I like to make like a chimichurri of those, like a salad dressing, a salad dip. And it's powerful. There's two types of people I studied food science, and like that's where I know it. There's people who hate it. Yes.
I love it.
You're lucky, guys. That's what I'm going to tell you. You're just lucky. And those people who don't like it, they're just like not lucky because their body has to like extra.
Why that herb more than others? Why
It's very
more than-
potent. It's very potent. It's almost genetic. Like my mother, who grew up like in a small village, she eats everything in the earth. She's like opportunist, right? Like she'll eat like just eat like one thing she doesn't eat. And I'm like, come on, like you eat everything, like one thing, like, and it's genetic. Like, yeah. Yeah. So those who do, just remember, you're lucky, and so it removes heavy metals from your body. It has this like chelating effect, and even like traditional doctors right now are recommending it because of how powerful it is. Yes. Other things like they're listed there. What? You guys, I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite. I mean, parsley and dill are all great, but that one is particularly powerful. Yes.
And you just eat it, you just chop it. I mean, I use it like in if I do Mexican food or
Yeah.
something, but like you would just eat it like by
Add it
hand
to your
every
salads.
day.
Just chop it up into your salad. Add it to your eggs. Yeah. I mean, smoothies, yeah, again, you could do that. But yeah, good job. But then like I add it to my eggs, right? Instead of just like spinach and kale, you can add that, right? And into your salad. And I make like a sauce for it. Like I just like in the food blender, I mix it with like garlic, olive oil, cilantro, and I add some parsley to it. It's like an Italian dressing almost, you know, and you blend it and you add some like with salmon, like before you roast it, you can put like cilantro infused salmon. Yeah. I mean, just remember the cilantro and then like I'm sure your brain will make it happen. You're like, I bought a whole bunch, I gotta use it somehow, right? Yes, and then there is like flavonoids, the quercetin from peaches, apples, garlic, and onions, right? And catechins from like green tea and all types of teas, and zinc and selenium. I love talking about these antioxidants, especially because most of them come from vegan sources, sunflower and pumpkin seeds, right? The best source of zinc. Like I never recommend supplementing zinc because it's toxic in large amounts. Yeah, so you'd rather make sure there are pumpkin seeds on the same salad and on the same smoothie where cilantro is. The best source of zinc. And then selenium, there's like Brazil nuts, sardines, and animal protein. There's a ton of reasons why we're not giving up animal protein when we're detoxifying, and selenium and glutathione and other antioxidants also, and B vitamins. B vitamins also help our liver to detoxify, and that's why it's okay to be vegan for like a week when you're detoxing, right? But not like as a lifestyle intervention, right? And today's talk is all about how to like just make detox on a daily basis happen, right? Instead of waiting until it's gonna hit you and then make it happen. And then there's sulforaphane. That one is my favorite. I talk about it every lecture. All the biohackers right now like take it in capsule forms because there's a ton of studies in China that was done in China on how it helps our body to detoxify from pollution and from all the chemicals that we inhale. Sulforaphane, has anyone ever heard of it? Broccoli sprouts. Actually, like on my plate that I created here, there's like these three right here. If you guys want to look, these are all sprouts. Look at it. Sprouts, yeah. They're broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts, and celery sprouts. All of those, if you guys ever been to like raw vegan cleansing detoxes, it's all about sprouts there, right? And again, my job is to educate you. Like you don't have to wait until like you need like a hardcore detox.
Are there like supplement pill versions of it, or you don't?
Yes, but let's not go there. Let's see how we can make it on a daily basis. So yeah, broccoli sprouts, you can find them at Whole Foods too, and sprinkle them in the same salad, like add it to the salad or add it to smoothies, right? Those bitter greens. But that's the most.
Are they in the whole?
Yes.
Really?
In the salad section.
Yeah.
In the salad?
Mm-hmm.
Usually in like little plastic containers.
Yeah.
Oh, next to the herb.
Yeah, they can mold
Yeah.
nicely if you're doing the sprouts, and you can easily do microgreens at home.
Yeah.
On a windowsill. It doesn't take a lot of space. You just cook it yourself, so it's like the freshest pasta, whatever that every day.
So you
Yeah.
grow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would be that person who grows her own microgreens.
Seriously, within like 3 days, you've got those sprouts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always very proud of you guys who grow their own microgreens. But yes, sprouting is what activates it. And sulforaphane is, there's so much research behind it, is that, like when things get really hard, like when people come to the doctors and to me, like I prescribe it in like supplemental form because we need to get like real like work done quickly when there's a lot of damage that was done. So, but again, you guys are pros now, right? You're not gonna wait for that. You'll make sure. But there's a ton of, broccoli, like regular broccoli or broccolini, the younger broccoli, is where you get the most amount of sulforaphane. Okay. Here.
What about the beet juice and the root juice that you have up
Beet?
pictures? Does that have
Oh, I
anything to
mean,
do with it?
yes. So what antioxidants are? Those are like the that they help, to our metabolism, right, by attacking free radicals. But how we get them from food is from colors of the food. You see how I have this picture of different foods, like the blueberries, right, the lemons, and what the difference between them is the color and the texture. And what makes them different are those biochemicals called like antioxidants, and then there's like polyphenols, flavonoids, right? And those are the most beneficial for our body. So the more colors you have in your diet, right, like you look at that plate, it's like a whole rainbow. The more antioxidants you have on your plate and in your diet, and the deeper the color, the more antioxidants you get. The same thing I was talking about salmon. Same thing if you were to compare wild blueberries with regular blueberries. You know how they're like deep purple and they're smaller, right? Because they had to like survive to, to become what they became, right? Versus like the regular blueberries, they're white inside. They don't have a ton of like potency to them. So that's what you should remember. The deeper the color, the more antioxidants, and that's what we're looking for. Here we are. We have a whole slide on my favorite antioxidant that I don't want you guys to supplement. So everything green. I'm sure you guys have seen all these like boring nutritionists with the broccolis, right? Like I said, there's a ton of research behind the broccoli recommendation, right? But it's not just broccoli. There's a lot of things, right? And bok choy is one of the best ones, and kale. And the same thing when I talk about sulforaphane and I compare kale to the romaine lettuce, which one do you think has more antioxidants?
Yeah.
The darker the color, right? So
Romaine is
exactly.
pretty much like no nutritional value, right?
I mean, it's a lot of water. It's like cucumbers, right? I mean, it has some, fiber to it, right? But it doesn't have a ton of sulforaphane or chlorophyll,
I
right?
have a question.
Yeah.
My gardener was just telling me it was overflowing with kale, and
Yeah.
I'm so sick
Look
of
how many
kale.
people here like wanting.
What am I gonna do with all this kale? Like, is there a way to use it? I mean, kale salad, kale soup.
I would freeze it. I would chop it up and
Chop it,
freeze it.
freeze it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and use it in your smoothies.
Okay.
But you want to be careful with all these greens. Depends on your genetic mutations. It could like wreak some problems for you, like with your thyroid. So it has a ton of vitamin K, so it's also blood thinner. So people who,
I'm taking vitamin K anyways.
okay, so you don't.
Okay.
No.
Overdo it.
Yes. So vitamin K is your body is able to produce it naturally on its own, and yes, it goes well with like vitamin D and its absorption, but I don't recommend people supplementing on vitamin K, especially someone like you who eats a lot of green vegetables. That's where you get vitamin K. Most people don't eat green vegetables. They don't attend lectures like that, right? So, and you do know, and like for you, I wouldn't supplement it because you'll get it from this.
Okay.
Okay.
What is your take on raw kale? 'Cause it's one of my
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, but that's actually like
Everything in moderation. I'm not against it, but I always like to recommend raw foods for lunch, like a salad, and I almost never recommend raw foods for dinner. So cooked something like you can like saute it with olive oil and garlic for 3 minutes. It's still already temperature treated, right? And it's not the same. It's not the same potency, and that's why it protects your thyroid. That's why I don't want anyone to overdo it, because we were just talking about put it in a smoothie, put it in the salad, and have it in your yeah. Yeah, it happens to me too when I get overly excited about broccoli and like this Whole Foods delivers me like 17 pounds of broccoli. Like, okay, I guess broccoli at every meal. But then I was like, no, I need to balance it out. So I always make sure there's like some starch and other vegetables. So, and same thing with kale. Yes, you're just mentioning it, and for that reason, like it could affect your thyroid.
it's like kale and spinach.
Yeah, the green
Should always
vegetables.
be, like lightly cooked.
Yes.
Because plants have a protective mechanism, which if you overeat it.
What are they
raw,
called?
it's
Gordages?
Oxalates.
Oxalates, that
Yes.
too.
A
Yeah.
lot of defense
Yeah.
chemicals.
Yeah.
I've actually seen Dave Asprey talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
Most people who talk about those things,
Carnivore is like so
yeah. The reason they talk about this because they don't like eating vegetables. I'll be honest with you, right? Like I'll tell you all this information and you guys are all already here because you kind of like trying your best to make things happen. And a lot of men who like speak against vegetables, including Dr. What's his name, Gundry, and Dave Asprey, like they hate kale, and they have a whole list of arguments why it's not good for you. I mean, it's a whole joke about him. I mean, there's a grain of truth in that. Yeah.
Make sure you
I'm not.
digest it also.
Yeah.
also, yeah.
I'm not saying he's wrong, right? But there's like a two side of it, right? There's a ton of benefits for it, but everything in moderation,
But
right?
certain things raw, like for example, when I saw the beet juice,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a bad experience with beet juice. For example, they say it's very potent. Like you have to mix it. If you're doing a beet juice, it's so strong you could get like
I've
really
had a bad
dizzy.
experience with beaches.
You did too, right? If you need to mix it with like carrots or
And
something.
pomegranate juice.
Yeah.
But they say that's where you get the most nutrients
Yeah.
from the beet. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you cook it, then it loses everything.
I disagree because I mean, for me, the whole food is the most essential way of doing it. There's a a term called synergy, right? The synergistic effect of the fiber, and there's a lot in that vegetable.
But there's studies about juicing or not juicing, and where certain fruits and vegetables are better juiced, not fruits, vegetables. Anyway, I know, that's what I read about peas.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, some people are sensitive to juices, even like green juices. So I always recommend like in its natural form and lightly cooked. That's the most easily digestible.
Right.
So Ayurvedic restaurants, those are the ones that like everything there is like cooked, not a lot of raw food, and that's the most soothing diet. It's almost like, you know, like what would you give a child, you know? So something like that.
Interesting. Good. Yeah,
Because also when you
And it's really, it was kind of like, my nervous system was exploding.
your blood sugar goes up. I mean, carrots have a lot of sugar and so do beets.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yes.
juicing that
Yeah.
without the fiber,
Yeah.
that's going to spike your blood sugar.
That's exactly why.
Ella, that reminds me, last week you talked about, and I found that very interesting.
Tell me.
You said the difference, like the order when you eat the sweets.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Like when you said you eat the mango alone,
Yeah.
it's gonna,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
put your sugar level up. But if you eat it with like yogurt, granola, it makes a huge difference. And the other day I was trying to remember, and I was like, what did she say? So, no fruits and an empty stomach, and there was something else, and I couldn't remember.
Starchy vegetables, no sugars, no fruits,
And an
no,
empty stomach.
even the grains, you know, like oatmeal, like not an empty
Not an
stomach.
empty
Always combine it with, yeah. Like some diligent students here. So last time we talked about metabolism and meal composition, so she was asking about the same thing, like meal composition. So that's a lot of sugar, especially if you do it in an empty stomach. I mean, first of all, your insulin's gonna skyrocket, right? And that's not good for any reason. Whatever you're trying to solve with the beet juice, right? Like your hormones are gonna go haywire, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. So glutathione. Who's here ever tried glutathione in any way other than from the food?
I take a supplement.
Uh-huh.
It's a little squeezy. And
Yeah.
It's I don't even know how to say it, but I take it every day.
But it's in all those foods?
It is, yes. Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
enough?
it's to sustain, to maintain, like it's not like, for me it's enough, right? But then there are people who like genetically are not able to detoxify as fast, right? When the nature is not fast enough, as they say in biohacking, right? That's when you can go to the IVs, but those are like happen to be either very expensive or like large doses, you know, they're dose dependent, depending if you're able to even get it, right? So for me, I always like to include it that sulfur and selenium, all of that is helping our body to, because glutathione is an antioxidant that our body produces on its own, right? It's just that when we age, it's not able to produce as much, right? And also maybe because we're not eating as well, right? Because we're all busy and stressed out and traveling, we're doing a lot of things, and we fall short in all these things, right? And I mean, just think about it. When we get out of New York City and Miami, what's out there? Then suddenly we're like so grateful for juice press and for all these, you know, sweet greens. There's not much out there, right? So, and most of those biohackers, most of them are like in their 50s and in their 60s. Guess what they ate until like 10 years ago? None of that. They were just trying to figure it out, right? And now they're trying to reverse all the damage that was done, and that's how all these things are suddenly now in like injectable and you know, highly concentrated form and like in supplement form. But that's how I feel like my mission is to educate the youth, you know, because most of my clients come to me like 34, 36 years old and like, I heard David Sinclair or like Dave Asprey, like, you know, talking about this. I'm taking everything they do. I'm like, okay, like back up. They're 50 and 60, you're 30, right? They've done so much damage to themselves, and you've been like an athlete your whole life. You've been like doing so great. You guys are different. You don't need to do what they do. You're much earlier in the game, right? And that's when I tell them like less supplements, more balanced diet, like on that plate that you just got, so a lot of vegetables. So yeah, I'm sure you guys looked at this. And some of my favorite things to talk about, like selenium and glutathione-rich foods, are organ meats. I don't know if you guys ever heard dietitians talk about organ meats in addition to, yes, so liver. Like I'm the
But liver, isn't that the filter with all the junk in it?
exactly right. There's all these contradictions, and I'm not courageous enough to bring it right up. So yes, quality becomes very important, right? So we don't want the animal to eat junk, to be treated like junk, and be stuffed up with hormones and antibiotics, right, where it stores all that junk. We want to make sure that it's grass-fed or from a local farmer that we know, that we support. I love supporting local farmers, right? And getting, it from a source that we know truly cares about the quality. And
But it's still a liver. It's still like
No.
It's still filtering all the garbage.
Yes, it's still it does a lot of function and as well as filtering. But if the cow ate only like the good stuff that it's supposed to eat, there's a ton of health benefits from it. And some of the real real. Thank you. My American friends love liver. Yeah. And me, being the professional foodie, I have a spot for you guys. Whole Foods doesn't sell liver here in Miami. You know where they serve it? At Cipriani. And they know me there because I send people there, like order it. Yeah. Yeah, you eat it? Me too.
Almost every time.
Without polenta, right? I was like,
I sit down there like.
you see, we never met, but we do the same thing. Yes.
That's so funny.
So good. It's not grilled. It's like pan.
It's like pan-seared, yeah. And there's a restaurant in New York.
It's a little one.
With the caramelized onion.
Yes. Actually, it's French.
No, not foie gras. It's the caramelized.
No. It's a calf's liver, yeah.
It's the main course, okay?
All right.
Just eat it with bread because like a bread.
Right, exactly. It's in the main course.
Yeah, it's from Venezia, from the
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's a restaurant in New York that serves that liver with blueberries, like blueberries, sauteed blueberries. It's just mind-blowing. Yeah, it's so good. So if you guys need places to go.
I know that Cipriani is an approved dietitian quality liver.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So
I
what
have
other organs do you suggest?
heart. I mean that's what like research says, like heart, kidneys, and liver. And then when I was getting ready for this, I think one of the slides or somewhere it says like heart, liver, and kidneys. And I was like reading. I was like, when did you eat like heart last time? I was like, you never see those things. You do? Look at her.
Where do you go now? In the Netherlands, we have, you have a butcher.
Yes.
And I was like, they were out of liver, and I was
Yeah.
like, what else you got?
Yeah.
It was like heart, and they literally brought
Yeah.
this whole heart.
I mean, in other countries,
Yeah, chicken hearts, super popular for Russian
Yeah.
countries.
yeah. Oh, Japanese restaurants, authentic Japanese. Those, what do they call them? Not the one that are like sushi restaurants, but like authentic Japanese, something like with the G, not gyoza, something like a style. There's omakase, there's robata, the grilled. They have all types of like chicken stomachs, chicken. That's where I had those things. Yes, but never like cooked it myself. But like in countries outside of America, yeah, you see butchers. There's a whole animal there, right? Yeah. Here you can get it online delivered. It's called Share a Cow. That's where people like get every different parts of the animals, including organ meats. All right. Other aspects of detox. I'm sure you guys heard of like alkalinity. Like you guys are all acidic. You need to alkaline. You need to detox. That's why I bring this up, right? Again, it's our responsibility. Only those people who don't eat vegetables become acidic, right? And that's why that plate shows that's like there's some protein, right? And you can detoxify on a daily basis if you support your body with these foods. At least the way I teach my clients, if you, ran out and you're fasting, you don't eat breakfast, and for lunch you didn't have much, or like you had a sandwich or like pasta with friends, right, at Casa Tua, your dinner, and you're like, what should I eat? This is your last chance of the day to support your body. You better eat something green for dinner, okay? So that's, at least once a day, right? Or if you're traveling all day and you're going to, enjoy some Italian food, right? I'm gonna recommend the supplement on like dehydrated vegetables, right? On a daily basis. Oh, another thing about those antioxidants, there's like a whole list of antioxidants that I never like to forget to remind people. Because most of those antioxidants are water soluble, our body gets rid of it on a daily basis. So that's why when you see those people and they're like, yeah, I'm healthy, I eat broccoli once in a while, right? No, you have to find a way to eat it every day, and all those powerful antioxidants from berries especially, right? From colorful fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, because our body, have you guys ever heard of these supplements is all like wackery. It's like you're investing into expensive pee.
Right, yeah.
right? That's the whole point of, because our body eliminates things on a daily basis. Everything that's not fat soluble, that's water soluble, and fat soluble, there's like only 4 things, like a vitamin A, D, E, and K. Everything else our body just gets rid of on a daily basis. It does not store it. And yeah, that's another reason why we should be eating it every day. Which picture did you like the best?
Avocado toast.
The avocado toast. That's actually my play. That's me having dinner in Martha's Vineyard with Mark Hyman. If you guys know the doctor, yeah, that's like.
Is that salmon there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sous vide. That's why it's like so bright. Yeah, it's not fried. None of those. All right. Have you guys ever heard of this antioxidant? Alpha lipoic acid. So when I worked at a longevity clinic in New York, we did the testing for our clients. We tested their cells. So most doctors don't test, people's levels of these antioxidants. And alpha lipoic acid actually found in chicken livers. It's hard to, people supplement those when they, just have a deficiency of them. But most of the products that you see here are just high in it naturally. And it's also the other name for it in coenzyme Q10. That's another name for it. Very powerful antioxidant, which is like made by our body, but like it helps our body to detoxify and keeps our cells healthy. And then there's the NAD, another one kind of typical to glutathione when we lose our body's like ability to produce it on its own is lost with age, with all these different aspects, like it's protecting our cells, and it's also found in these products, most of these products, but it's like a balanced diet. All right, more antioxidants. And it keeps going. There's so many of them, right? Some of them are repeating for a reason because I want you guys to remember, like that one I saw already, this one I need to remember, but that's the vitamin C. Have you guys ever heard of like liposomal vitamin C? Yeah, that's the one that they converted into fat soluble form for your body to be able to absorb it, like to store it better, to get more health benefit from it. Because otherwise, even if you take 5,000, it's just gonna, metabolize itself into expensive pee. They say that for a reason, right? Again, just remember, the more colors you have on your plate, the more antioxidants you have, the more you are able to support your body's ability to detoxify, right? Eat the rainbow, as dietitians say. Okay. And then there's essential oils. With all the food that we eat, we can also support our bodies with essential oils. Those are like extracted from certain components, and here I have the best ones for detoxification, and you can use them internally as well as topically, right? I used bergamot oil on the way here today because it's also, it connects with the emotions. No, it's supposed to boost confidence.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I just got it. I went to this detox center. Have you guys ever heard of the Hippocrates Institute? Yes. Yeah. I have. That one is hardcore.
Really?
Yes. It's all raw foods. It's all vegan. The raw foods, and like I still remember like the first day I walked in, I was like, this is amazing. I've never seen so many sprouts in my life. By the third day, I'm like, I can't look at this. It's all sprouts and it's all raw. It's a bit much, and that's why I was like, that's why I was like, I better become professional at detoxing because it's painful. By the third day, I was like, I'm fasting. I'm finally ready for fasting because I can't look at this food anymore. So I was able to fast for like 24 hours and more. No, it's actually 36 with the sleep. So I encourage you to try it if you like really feel cold. But me as a professional, like I have to try everything on my own, especially moving to Florida. I recommend those places. It's great, but for someone who's like, and they have wonderful healing stories of people who like reverse cancer and things like that. But for healthy people like us and you guys showing up for yourself today to learn all of this, you don't need that. It's like Hippocrates Institute. Hippocrates. No, it's a minimum of week. Yeah, people go there for 3 weeks, but those who actually... Okay, another fun slide, supplements. Everything, guys, I covered. So this one is my favorite to travel with, organic veggies. And that's the... You have everything? You see, you're like my spirit sister. However, like... Yeah, only the best. I don't.
I just was reading about that cellular beauty today. Do you recommend it?
Yes, look at the first thing that's on it. My favorite antioxidant, anthocyanin, the one that you get from seafood. Yeah,
Okay.
that supports the glowing skin.
Pomegranate and
CoQ10, that's the chicken livers that I was talking about. And then the pomegranate, the deep colored fruits and like the berries that I talk about. Yeah, and like other vegetable derivatives. Organic veggies, that's one. This formula by Mind Body Green is my favorite. It has just like such an impressive ingredient list with seaweed, like seaweed and all types of like sea vegetables. Yes, and
like a green juice.
it's like a green powder.
Okay.
Yeah, so you either add it to your smoothies, or if you're traveling, you're on the go, you just mix it with water. But again, that's how you support your body's ability to metabolize itself without going too long without eating vegetables. Because I mean, it happens to all of us when I travel. Like I don't have time to eat veggies, right? As much as I would love to. This one is the liposomal vitamin C that I love recommending, that tastes delicious because it's sweetened with organic apple juice instead of sugars. And also it comes with the elderberry, another powerful antioxidant. The deeper the color, I work with them, right? I have like so many Instagram stories when I'm trying to put it in my mouth, and how many times I got it on my shirt. You guys don't want to know. And guess what stains your clothes? The antioxidants. The deeper the color, all those things that stain your clothes are like cherries, pomegranates, and elderberry. That means they're a red wine, resveratrol. Yes. I mean, did you see it on the list? It's all about resveratrol. That's red wine is high in. Yeah. And then there's two other ones that are specifically designed to detoxify liver, but that's like, I wouldn't, again, because you guys there's no like client and the provider relationship form, but it's my job to educate you that these things are out there. These things are really for like older people and who are dealing with all those, remember the list from the beginning, right? So the milk twistle. Have you guys ever heard of L-glutamine and milk twistle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take both. I mean, I'll buy it and I'll take it for a week and sit there
And then you're like, I don't know why I'm taking it. Forgot why I'm taking
always.
it.
I just commit for
Yeah.
a week and then
Yeah. Well, milk twistle is an herb and it's also powerful antioxidant. And from
Is that good to take like on a daily basis with your supplements?
you can, but only if you feel like you have some kind of problems. And I would like take you through like functional assessment just to see if you need it.
So it's
I mean,
not just good for like daily liver support. It's too much.
it's kind of like if you depends what you're dealing with. Like for example, during the summer when like we want to eat more vegetables, right? We have more energy and it's kind of like our body is just like operates on its own. The day is long. We don't crave ton of food. And then in the winter time, when the day is short, the night is long, and we're craving more comfort foods and red wine, and just want to like eat more protein and fats, and that's natural. And that's when I would take it, because as an antioxidant, it helps your body to detoxify, right? When you kind of like, I don't feel like eating vegetables, I feel like eating like steak and potatoes, and that's usually what happens in the winter in the northern hemisphere, right? That's when I usually recommend people like to support your liver, and when you don't feel like eating. Plus, I have like a lot of clients who just like don't eat vegetables. Yeah, I deal with those.
They don't eat any
no, they're like,
I always am shocked. Like, how could you not want to eat vegetables?
I know. I feel like I need it. Like if I
Like
spend
I've
a
wanted to
day,
eat
Right.
vegetables since I was like.
I've seen it all, okay, in my private practice when people come in. It's like, nope, not gonna make me do it. No, I was like, okay, giving up trying to do that, and that's when I, do things like that and the supplements like that.
What's your take on taking like milk thistle for basically biohacking, let's say a martini? Like if you go out with friends and you decide to have a cocktail, like I don't drink, but if you were to
Yeah.
have one,
I mean, there are different potent antioxidants for that, and specifically for alcohol, I love using activated charcoal.
Yeah.
It absorbs it better, yeah, and I use it like before and after, like before going out and after like coming home. So that's my favorite. Do we need to talk about plastics, or we only use glass bottles these days, right? The deep, right?
you're holding a plastic bottle,
Right?
And drinking from it.
Well, we all heard of BPAs and how that affects our endocrine system, and it mimics the hormones in our body, and that's what the worst thing. And the worst thing what happens is when you heat it up, right? And when it comes to these bottles, you're like, I never would heat this up, right? But what sun does to us, right, during the transportation, and all those like plastic bottles that are transported from where New Zealand, France, all these countries, right? So it all gets into our water. Remember how from the beginning I was talking about packaging, how the food absorbs plastic, microplastics from the packaging? Same thing with our water and juices and things like that. So even like if we could use, glass bottles, reusable bottles, or plastic containers, glass containers, the less plastic you use in your life, the safer you are, and the safer the planet. Like that's where I'm leading with this whole thing. Like our planet is toxic, and we need, like, the more we take care of ourselves, the natural organic living, the more we affect our planet, the health of our planet.
What about that bamboo plastic that they came up with? Plastic made out of bamboo.
Honestly, it's better probably than the one that's made of, the regular plastic that's made of oil, right? But it sounds good to me from like a natural perspective of it, right? That it's made of, like, there's a lot of clothes that's made of bamboo right now, and I use it, and I like it, especially sports clothes. Yeah, there's a few companies. Okay, so we talked about this, right? Personal use and opening like our windows, because like microplastics are in the air. So, and air conditioning is not making it go away. So opening our windows just to circulate the clean air and reduce the exposure to microplastics, that also that's what like affects our metabolism as we get older, right? Not only because we're constantly exposed to it, like living like the lives that we live right now, like we all are exposed to it. And if we could take one step towards it and reduce our plastic exposure with, who's gonna give me an idea what they would do? Like what do you think? Like what are some of the steps that you could take today to reduce your exposure to plastic?
Use reusable, like swell bottles, or glass bottles. I don't know. It's hard sometimes when you're out.
Is glass safer?
Yes, much safer.
It's safer, but is it still good?
It's still good, yes. Glass bottles, water and glass bottles, and like you carrying your water in glass jars, like that's the key.
Limit use of makeup and fragrances. Limit use of makeup and fragrances.
Yeah. Good one. Wow, look at you. I'm so glad I inspired you. Yes. Yeah,
I'm not finding no man with limiting those.
Come on, don't underestimate the powers of your charm.
I'm joking. I just enjoy this.
Yeah. All right. A few other things. How to detoxify your lymphatic system, right? With hydration, massages, obviously, and my favorite is rebounding, jumping, and dancing, right? Those are like the easiest thing to do, but I'm sure you guys heard of like Tony Robbins workout, right? When he does that, and that's the key to it. So our lymphatic system does not have its ability to push itself up, and when we're jumping and rebounding, we're helping our lymphatic system, and lymphatic system is the system that's responsible for getting rid of all the toxins. What?
I said I have a rebounder, but I like never jumped on it.
Well, we all are jealous of your rebounder right now, and you should get it. Yeah, you should like get some use of it. Yeah. I jump every day just for that reason. There's like a special my lymphatic drainage massage therapist, what he recommends, the jumps on your hills. Those are very awkward. I'm warning you. On your hills, not on your tippy toes, on your hills. Yes. Those are very awkward, but yeah. Have you tried it?
No, but it sounds very
hard. Yeah. So at least 100 of those every morning, and that's what like models use to just like depuff.
Jumping
on your heels. Yeah.
Are you talking about just even like on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor, yeah. Just small jumps like this high, right? But you'll notice, no, it doesn't hurt, but it's just, it's a little like, you could lose your, yeah. But the truth is like it helps your lymphatic system to just upregulate itself. And then of course, making sure you go to the bathroom every day, right? As my Chinese medicine practitioner always said when I see him, he's like, pee pee caca good? That's what he always said, because he barely spoke any English, right? But he prescribed a lot of herbs and teas. for anything. And drinking enough water. And then there's colon cleansing and colonoscopy, of course, always there, available for us. I don't like recommending it, but only for those who are like really, going through some, either like antibiotic use or like recovering from like some sickness, right? Or not being able to take care of themselves well.
Are there any bad side effects of just doing it? Like, I wanted to give it a try.
Not necessarily, no, not necessarily. And I encourage everyone to try it for themselves, just to have your own feel of it, right? I mean, it does wipe up your entire like microflora, like in your large intestine, but there's a ton of like health benefits of it.
I think it just depends. If you're like healthy, then I don't think you need it.
Yes.
I've done it a couple times. Both the times I was like, yeah, there was no need for that. But I was like part of like a
I
program.
always make
They
sure,
included it in
if
it,
you
and I
eat
was
probiotics, if you eat, if you're never like bloated, if you take care of yourself well, like I do, like I don't need it. I don't, look to do it, but there's a lot of clients who just, those people, the yo-yo dieting, right? They either like hardcore detox or they go out partying and doing crazy stuff. That makes no sense to people like us, right? But like people live like that and, they have a right to do so. And then there's herbs and spices. Those are my favorite types of medications, right? Who adds ginger to their smoothies? Ta-da! And Gwyneth Paltrow does, right? The queen of detox, right? And mint and ginger, those are some of my favorites. Cilantro is obviously there next to dandelion greens. You guys ever heard of or tried dandelion greens juice? Yes.
They put it in a lot of
Bitter,
green juices.
yes.
You might not even know that you've been having it, but a lot of green juices add to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
They're
good
bitter,
thing.
though.
That's a good thing, yeah. I mean, just to remember this thing. I mean, it's not exciting to remember, but like all the bitter greens are the best ones for you. Yes. And remember how we talked about like last time, the low carb vegetarian diet is like the key to like longevity right now. Yeah. And the low carb is all about like bitterness, all the bitter greens that you have, like high fiber vegetables. So the bitter and elderberries right here. We talked about it a little bit. It's very hard to get it from food, so it's either only through teas or the supplementation. Powerful antioxidant. I remember going to NYU, my first course in like health and nutrition, and all these professors, they're like, I'm coming in with this. What about this? Is this helping? Is this good for you? And they all answer like, well, it depends. Well, science doesn't know. And there's one thing that I learned from that course in health and nutrition: is elderberry, scientifically proven to lower the duration and your encounters with like inflammatory and like viral infections. And not a lot of people take it, right? People just wait until they get sick to take it, right? And that's why I love taking that on the, like an addition. Like you can get it in tea. I love the traditional medicines. They have them in tea form, as well as echinacea. We're almost done, guys. So hydration, my favorite. We all should hydrate more, right? And there's a ton of way to hydrate. It's not just water or green juice, right? And then there's all these things that not a lot of people talk about, like berry juices. I like to recommend those, obviously diluting them, but like enhancing your water with those. And those three are my absolute favorite: the sour tart cherries and pomegranate juice. And those are the most potent antioxidant-rich beverages that you can get. And of course, I obviously want everyone to get organic, non-GMO, non-from concentrate. And another one, I don't know why it's not on the list, it's cranberry. It's my favorite berry of all times because it has the highest potent like antioxidants and vitamin C, a lot of fiber, and no sugar, close to zero sugar. So, but if you just be warned, like when you get it like organic, non-GMO, non-sweetened, it's going to be very bitter. But we remember the bitter, the better for us, right? The more antioxidants, the more sour it means, again, like the more vitamin C and less sugar. And whenever you I always tell my clients like 3/4 of the glass water and like 1/4 of the juice. And same thing with like sour tart cherry. I mentioned it last time. I love, there's a lot of people who eat their King's diet. Have you ever heard of like what happens? The King's diet plague. It's called gout, right? When people get inflammation of their joints and then they're not able to eat any protein. Then they have to like go through detox and vegan. Yes. Because it's the uric acid from the first slide. Remember the exogenous toxins, uric acid. To balance it out, what's the solution? The doctors prescribe sour tart cherry pills. and they're delicious. You just chew them like, but they're like very potent, very concentrated, and that's why when I saw the clients enjoying that, I was like, okay, I got that. I'll make sure I enjoy my protein and I drink sour tart cherry juice. Or whenever you find those seasonal, you can always enjoy like entire berry, but just not sweet berries. Those are very sweet. For all of you who are getting their CGMs, be warned. The sweet cherries are just as sweet as in moderation, and as we talked about last time with protein and fats. All right. This whole lecture was not about dieting. It was about eating according to your goals to support your detox, right? And to feel the happy and healthy and successful, right? Like you're totally succeeding at your detox, right? So that's like a daily food intake that I encourage everyone to just, get inspiration from. Green smoothie or like probiotic yogurt. Or like even if you don't eat yogurt, if you eat like oatmeal or some sort of, we always want to add some fiber, some antioxidants, some healthy fats, right?
So funny, I eat eggs with sauerkraut all the time. I thought I'm so weird.
You're like the healthiest person in the room,
Well,
like doing all the right things. Yeah, sauerkraut,
But,
yeah.
And it's a weird craving I have all the time.
The sauerkraut is
Eggs are-
rich in probiotics. I didn't even talk about those things today, but naturally occurring probiotics. That's traditional food from millennia, just like as
Or kimchi, I'll like literally fry
Yeah,
2 eggs
kombucha,
on
yes, the
sauerkraut,
natural
and then
kombucha.
smoked salmon, and that'll be like my thing. I don't know why. It was like because the flavors go well together.
Okay. Do we need to talk about sardines and mackerels, or you guys love those already? The omega-3. When I talked about omega-3, the small fatty fish, sardines, mackerels, right, and salmon with green salad or like sauteed vegetables, right? And then there's bone broth-based soups. Bone broth is high in L-glutamine, that amino acid that I mentioned earlier. And that's it for today. For all the things that I mentioned today, you can download a food shopping list on my website at nutritionistella.com that you can sign up for a free newsletter and receive this food shopping. It actually includes some of the brands that I love, that I trust. Yeah. And some of the links for like a salmon and salmon raw, I think I linked it to Vital Choice. Have you guys ever heard of it? It's like a seafood frozen delivered from Alaska. And then if you guys want to learn more about supplements or cooking recipes, you can also find them on my website under a wellness course. And that's it for today. I just wanted to include this slide on cryo and steam room and like saunas and steam rooms for detoxification and metabolism optimization. Those are my absolute favorites to recommend, and there's a lot of science behind the term of shivering. What shivering does, it's like serves as a healthy stressor to your body when your body is like working hard to heat itself up, and that's what boosts your metabolism. And for that, I love recommending cryotherapy, and in combination, or like at least like cold exposure in combination with saunas. Again, it's like traditional. People have been doing that like to be able to adjust and accommodate for like winter. But here in Miami, we have to like expose ourselves to it, like I did this morning when I went for like cold swimming. Or for cryo, you can find studios here. Like last time, I recommended one from Casa Privé. If you guys want to check it out here in Brickell, they have all types of like metabolism optimization machines, including this one. And that's it for today. I have a ton of other slides, but those are like not, those are just there. Yay! Thank you. So what are you guys gonna do about your detox tomorrow?
On Amazon and buy some.
By what?
On Amazon and buy supplements.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation for a farm-to-table vegetable delivery? Because I used to have one before and they just closed down. It was, unless they're
Yeah.
organic. And I've been trying.
It's called CSA, like Community Supported Agriculture. CSA in Florida. I have one from the plant. You know the plant? Here in Miami, they have like a sacred space there for events. So they have the farmers market, and they have it. I forgot what the name of the farm is. Something beautiful, something like Harmony. Paradise. You see, I said Harmony. Yeah, Paradise Farm. So they do that.
But I don't think they deliver.
Maybe.
Well, I think you have to pick it up.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm still exploring it myself, but because I love supporting local farmers, and I reached out to them. They wanted to collaborate with me, but I go to the farmers market here in where Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
That one is
really good.
famous.
That's
Yeah, the classic one.
Saturday,
Yeah,
right?
and Homestead has a lot of farms, and just seeing which one supports like the organic growers.
Yeah, they're not all organic.
Oh, really?
No, they're neither. Yeah, organic are still hippies. You know, even like in the North Fork of Long Island, they're still like they look at them as like little cuckoos. You know, but they see the success of these people and how more and more consumers are becoming educated, more people, more farmers. Because I know a lot of farmers like from up there. So here I'm still like, getting to know them to people. I wish I had an answer for you, but like if you'll find out, like make sure to tell me. But
I tried one called Florida Direct, but it's kind of like, and
Yeah.
now I'm trying Misfit, but it's not really 100% like, it's like a different concept. So I'm exploring. I was wondering if anybody had recommendations.
yeah,
It's
I
actually not for me, it's for my mom, because
I only know the Paradise Farms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I talked to them and I've been to the farmers market. It's really, you know, it's a little pricey, but it's like really like you see how there's no middlemen. It's like just the farmers just pick their vegetables and here's me like getting it. And I love that. That's better than organic. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no packaging also, which is so, you eliminate a lot of the packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, no plastic, none of those wrapping, imports. Yeah.
Differentiate to organic, it's always like, oh,
I
packaging.
know.
Just slide on probiotics
Oh yeah.
from my previous lectures. Yeah, on anti-inflammatory food. Yeah.
What is your take on bioidentical hormones?
Well, I don't do much of like genetic testing, like only hormones and like nutrient testing, so I wouldn't be able to tell you much. Yeah.
On what did you ask?
Bioidentical hormones. Yeah. I'm working with a doctor right now who does genetic testing, and in New York, I worked with a doctor who's like deep into, you know, genetical testing. So I leave it up to them, endocrinologists. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Helen, what are your thoughts about including liquid chlorophyll in water?
It's great. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just it's a little too like laborious for me because every time I do it, my mouth turns green and then I can't go out. It does happen. I was like, oh no, it's only chlorophyll, but I look like weird. So I prefer this, right? But it's great.
Well, I was wondering if there
Yeah.
was any other side of it or any negative.
No. It's also highly alkalining, right? But I would only recommend it to those who are like either unable to eat vegetables, like either don't like it, right? Or highly acidic, you know, people who deal with some sort of health conditions, you know?
So I tried it. Somebody at the spa suggested it, and
Yeah.
they say it's really good to like detoxify and
Yeah.
like try to avoid like having body odors. And I tried it, and it was incredible. Like, I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
Like, people would come to me and be
Yeah.
like, "What's happening?" Like everybody smell like
Yeah.
everybody smell like sweat, and I nothing. Like
Yeah.
my breath, everything.
Well,
it was
thank
like,
you for
so I was
mentioning it,
wondering
yeah.
If no, it was crazy. Like
Yeah.
wait a month after you putting like a couple of spoons in your water, and it's like, and I
Yeah.
eat vegetables and everything, but I still used to sweat. I used to smell like,
Yeah.
and it. I mean, that's why I was wondering. I'm like, is this like good for you?
It is, yeah. These two, the sulforaphane and chlorophyll, that's where you get mainly like the most bioactive compounds from vegetables. And yeah, if
And
you
people
get,
would judge me. They would be like, "Oh, it's natural to sweat, and to smell like sweat. Like if you don't smell like sweat, and like you don't." And I was like, "Wow, I should
Yeah.
like really look into it." But
and that's like I have a
health-wise, I really noticed a big difference, and like
Yeah.
really good.
I have a group course. It's called like Become Your Own Nutritionist, where I, you know, educate people how to stop these wars with other people on what they're doing, what you should be doing, and like become your own expert. Like learn, you know, study your own genetics, study your own things.
DNA.
Yeah,
There's
and then
nutritionists that they just
do
look
what's
at
right for you, what works for you,
Yeah.
you know, and
your
until
blood type,
yeah,
because certain blood type
yes,
need different things,
mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, the blood type diet. Yeah,
Yes.
it has a lot to
And
do.
I have a question just in terms of water.
Yeah.
And the quality of water.
Yes.
Like, I'm like at such a, like, I just don't know what
Mhm.
to do, like, for water. I have a Berkey, but I just don't know.
Me
like,
too.
I don't know. Is it
Yeah.
really good?
I mean, from what It does, yeah. It filtrates like real water.
Yeah, what's a Birkin?
Is it not a Birkin
No.
bag for you?
It's just the filter. It's the regular water, but
like
it's
a water
filtrated. Yeah.
Water filtration
Yeah.
thing that sits on top of your counter.
Yeah.
But it's big. It's like a big stainless thing, and it
Yeah.
filters through these big black carbon filters. But I don't know. I feel like it's a
Florida water running through this.
Oh,
exactly.
counting like a, it's like a
Alkaline,
reverse-
yeah.
Yes,
And
It's
you can put it
not
under your sink.
reverse osmosis. I
Yeah.
wish it was something. It's not attached to my sink, so
Yeah.
I literally take the tap water
Yeah.
and I put it in the
Yeah.
big stainless thing, and it filters.
Do
through
you
the
have
carbon
two filters though, the
filters.
carbon and the white
don't
one?
have the
I
white
have the
one.
white one, so I feel safer with that because I have the arsenic
Okay, yeah.
and
that's
the
best.
other.
I had
Really?
that,
Yeah.
and then I went away.
That's what she has. I've never heard of it.
Dried
Yeah.
up, and so I never bought the white part.
I feel safer with it this way. Like I don't ever buy like this plastic
Then
water.
I'm into buying, I guess sometimes I buy Mountain Valley, which is
Yeah,
glass
glass.
bottles,
Yeah, the
but
best one. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, it's the
always a
best.
nightmare for the water. I don't
Yeah.
know
I know the
what
water
is
is
the best
because the glass
quality
bottles
of
are so
water
heavy
for
also
us to be
to carry
drinking, and
shop
then most of
yourself.
it's
I've
plastic.
crushed those like so many times,
Yeah.
shattered in like somebody else's
It's
bottles.
so good, but it's still good.
Yeah.
It doesn't get rid of chlorine and fluoride.
What
Brita.
doesn't?
Brita.
Brita.
Oh, Brita.
But the
Brita.
Berkey does. It takes
Yeah.
away everything though, so I add minerals to mine.
So you have one too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you trust it? You think it's good?
Yeah.
My friends say it's the best
It's
one
the best,
next
yeah.
to the high tech ones are like the reverse,
Right.
the ones that you like install.
Yeah.
But those are really expensive.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
probably
Berkey is like probably the
And
best
so
one.
let me
Yeah.
ask you guys, I'm afraid to ask the question.
Yeah.
How often are we supposed to change those black filters?
Black
I
filters.
think it says it on.
That's right.
Yeah, I would have to Google it. Honestly.
I think it says like depends on how much like how big is your family, how fast does it go through.
A year?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I just got mine like a couple of months ago when I moved here. Yeah. I think what it said is that if it's not like filtrating fast enough, that's another sign that it needs to be. Did you notice anything like this? Like still,
Slow
yeah,
filters, but it's
slower than it used to be.
red drops.
Yeah.
Food coloring, and it doesn't come out red in the end. To test
So it still works. Yeah.
They say you put a few drops of
The red dye. Yeah.
and then you check to make sure there's no pink.